Antarctica is not just a continent. It is a boundary, a place where the planet stops being comfortable, familiar, or human. A land so extreme that it feels less like part of Earth and more like a reminder of what Earth was before life learned how to survive. At the very bottom of the world lies a silence unlike any other. No cities, no roads, no permanent human presence. Just ice, wind, and time stretch beyond comprehension. Antarctica covers more than 14 million square kilometers, making it the 5th largest continent on the planet. And yet, it remains the least explored, least inhabited, and least understood. Almost 98% of Antarctica is covered by ice. Not thin ice, not seasonal snow, but ice that reaches depths of more than 4 kilometers. Ice so old that it holds air from a time when humans did not exist. Ice that remembers climates long erased from the rest of the world. This frozen mass contains nearly 70% of all fresh water on Earth. If it were to melt completely, global sea levels would rise by more than 60 meters. Entire coastlines would vanish. Cities would disappear. The shape of civilization itself would be rewritten. But Antarctica is not melting into the ocean. It stands apart, locked in its own rhythm, governed by forces older than history. The average temperature in the interior can fall below minus 60 degrees Celsius. In winter, it can plunge even lower. Winds scream across the plateau at speeds exceeding 300 kilometers per hour, sculpting the ice into endless waves and razor-sharp ridges. Here, nature does not adapt to life. Life adapts, barely, to nature. There are no native human cultures in Antarctica, no ancient ruins, no lost civilizations. And that absence is precisely what makes the continent so powerful. Antarctica is Earth without us, a rare glimpse of a planet unshaped by agriculture, industry, or ambition. A place where the land has never been conquered, only briefly visited. This wasn't always the case. Millions of years ago, Antarctica was green. It was once connected to Australia, South America, and Africa as part of the supercontinent Gondwana. Fossil evidence shows forests, rivers, and even dinosaurs once existed here. But when tectonic plates shifted and Antarctica drifted south, ocean currents isolated it. The formation of the Antarctic Circumpolar Current cut the continent off from warm waters. Slowly, relentlessly, the land froze. That isolation changed everything. Antarctica became a climate engine, a regulator of global temperatures. The ice reflected sunlight back into space, cooling the planet. Ocean currents driven by Antarctic waters began controlling weather patterns across the globe. In a very real sense, modern Earth was shaped by the freezing of this continent. And still, Antarctica remains separate. Even today, it does not belong to any nation. No country owns it. No government controls it. The Antarctic Treaty, signed in 1959, declared the continent a scientific preserve, dedicated to peace and research. Military activity is forbidden. Nuclear testing is banned. Antarctica exists under a rare agreement where humanity collectively stepped back. But stepping back does not mean understanding. Beneath the ice lies a hidden world. Mountain ranges taller than the Alps. Vast valleys untouched by snow. Subglacial lakes sealed off for millions of years. Lake Vostok, buried beneath 4 kilometers of ice, may contain life forms that evolved in total isolation. Studying them could reveal how life survives in conditions similar to Europa or Enceladus, moons orbiting distant planets. In Antarctica, the familiar rules break down. The sun behaves differently here. In summer, it never sets. In winter, it never rises. Months of continuous daylight give way to months of absolute darkness. Time loses its rhythm. Days blur into each other. For those who overwinter at research stations, Antarctica becomes a psychological frontier as much as a physical one. Human presence is fragile, temporary. At most, around 5,000 people occupy the continent during summer. In winter, that number drops to barely 1,000ers. They live in isolated stations, surrounded by thousands of kilometers of nothing. Supplies arrive only a few times a year. Evacuation is often impossible. Mistakes are not forgiven here. And yet, life exists. Along the coasts, penguins gather in massive colonies, enduring storms and cold that would kill most mammals. Seals breathe through cracks in the ice, diving into waters colder than freezing. Beneath the sea ice, microscopic algae form the foundation of an entire ecosystem. Even in the coldest desert on Earth, life finds a way. But Antarctica is not a place of abundance. It is a place of limits. No trees grow here. No soil forms. Precipitation is so low that much of the continent qualifies as a desert. The dry valleys receive almost no snow at all, making them one of the closest analogs to Mars on Earth. Rocks lie exposed for millions of years, untouched by erosion, preserving meteorites that fell from space long before humans walked upright. This is why Antarctica matters. It is not just remote, it is a mirror, a reminder of Earth's raw power, a warning of how fragile balance truly is. Every glacier, every ice shelf, every crack in the frozen surface is monitored by scientists trying to understand the future of the planet. And still, standing here, surrounded by endless white and absolute silence, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Antarctica does not need us. It never has. It existed long before humanity, and it will exist long after. This is not a land shaped by human history. It is a land that reveals how small that history truly is. At the edge of the world, Antarctica remains what Earth looks like when it belongs only to itself. The deeper you go into Antarctica, the less it resembles a continent, and the more it feels like a concept. Distance loses meaning. Direction becomes abstract. The horizon stretches endlessly, unchanged hour after hour, day after day. There are no landmarks to guide the eye, no trees, no buildings, just ice merging into sky, a white void where scale collapses and the human mind struggles to orient itself. This is the Antarctic interior, the coldest, driest, and most isolated place on Earth. Here, the ice sheet rises into a vast plateau more than 3,000 meters above sea level. Combined with the extreme cold, the air becomes thin and hostile. Breathing feels shallow. Every movement costs energy. The body works harder simply to exist. Even seasoned explorers describe the interior as oppressive, not because of danger, but because of emptiness. Temperatures here regularly fall below -70 degrees Celsius. At these levels, exposed skin freezes in seconds. Metal becomes brittle. Fuel thickens. Sound travels differently, swallowed by the frozen air. Even machines struggle. Vehicles break down. Electronics fail. Antarctica does not welcome intrusion. And yet, beneath this frozen surface lies one of the most astonishing hidden worlds on the planet. Under kilometers of ice, scientists have discovered vast subglacial landscapes, entire mountain ranges, carved valleys, and networks of lakes sealed away from sunlight for millions of years. Lake Vostok alone is nearly as large as Lake Ontario, completely isolated beneath the ice. The pressure is immense, the water is supercooled, and still, it remains liquid, warmed by geothermal heat from below. These lakes are time capsules. They contain water that is not mixed with the surface since before modern humans evolved. Any life found there would represent an entirely separate evolutionary path, adapted to darkness, pressure, and isolation. Studying these ecosystems helps scientists understand not only Earth's past, but the potential for life beyond our planet, in the icy oceans of Europa, Enceladus, and distant exoplanets. Antarctica is not just frozen, it is alive with hidden motion. Ice flows slowly, imperceptibly, like a frozen ocean. Glaciers creep toward the sea at rates of meters per year, carrying with them the weight of entire mountain ranges. When they reach the coast, they form ice shelves, massive floating platforms hundreds of kilometers long. These shelves act as brakes, holding back the glaciers behind them. When an ice shelf collapses, the glacier accelerates. This has happened before. Larsen B, an ice shelf the size of a small country, shattered in a matter of weeks. What had stood for thousands of years vanished almost overnight. Satellites captured the moment, ice breaking apart like glass, exposing the dark ocean below. Antarctica does not collapse loudly. It fails quietly, with consequences felt far away. Sea levels rise not because Antarctica melts like ice in a glass, but because its structure destabilizes. The continent responds slowly, but once change begins, it becomes difficult to stop. This is why Antarctica is one of the most closely watched places on Earth, despite being the least visited. Human life here exists in fragile pockets. Research stations are islands of warmth in a frozen ocean. Built on ice, rock, or stilts, they house small crews who live together for months in isolation. During winter, flights stop entirely. Darkness lasts for half a year. Temperatures fall beyond rescue limits. If something goes wrong, help may be impossible. The psychological strain is intense. Researchers describe a phenomenon known as the third quarter effect. After the midpoint of winter, morale often collapses. Time feels suspended. Conflicts intensify. Sleep patterns break down. The mind turns inward. Antarctica strips away distraction, leaving only thought, memory, and silence. Some compare it to space travel. The same isolation, the same dependency on technology, the same awareness that outside the walls lies an environment instantly fatal to human life. This is why Antarctica is used as a testing ground for long-duration space missions. If humans can survive here, they might survive elsewhere. But survival does not mean dominance. Even the strongest stations are temporary. Structures shift as ice moves. Buildings are abandoned and buried. Entire facilities have been swallowed by snow over time. Antarctica slowly erases human footprints, reclaiming everything placed upon it. Beyond the stations, the continent remains untouched. No permanent roads cross it. No cities rise. No borders divide it. Antarctica is governed not by ownership, but by restraint. It exists as a rare experiment in collective humility, a place where humanity agreed to observe rather than exploit. Yet the pressure is growing. As technology advances and resources elsewhere decline, Antarctica's mineral wealth becomes tempting. Beneath the ice may lie oil, gas, and valuable metals. The treaty currently protects the continent, but its future depends on continued global cooperation, something history does not always guarantee. Antarctica stands as a test of whether humanity can resist the urge to consume everything within reach, a test of whether some places can remain wild, not because they are unreachable, but because they are respected. In the heart of the frozen continent, where no sound carries and no human voice has ever echoed, Antarctica continues its slow, ancient processes. Ice forms, ice moves, ice breaks. Time flows not in years, but in millennia. This is Earth operating on its own terms, and the deeper we look, the clearer it becomes. Antarctica is not empty. It is full of meaning, if we are quiet enough to listen. Antarctica is a land of extremes, not only in climate, but in time. It is a place where the Earth's processes stretch beyond human understanding, where change happens at a glacial pace, and yet the consequences of that change could shape the world for centuries to come. Antarctica's future is inextricably linked to the survival of the planet itself. But it is not just about ice. It's about what this ice represents. A living memory of our planet, preserved in its frozen form, holding the answers to questions we have not yet fully asked. It is not just a barrier against climate change. It is the key to understanding how Earth reacts when the human touch is absent. As we face the warming of the world, Antarctica offers us a rare glimpse of Earth's natural rhythms in their most untouched form. The question remains, can we continue to keep Antarctica untouched? Or will it eventually succumb to the same fate as the rest of the world? A world where humans, with their insatiable desires and global reach, have left marks that cannot be erased? In recent decades, we have witnessed the rapid acceleration of climate change. The Antarctic Peninsula, for instance, has warmed faster than nearly anywhere else on Earth. The ice shelves, once stable and unyielding, are now breaking apart with alarming regularity. The collapse of the Larsen B ice shelf in 2002, for example, was a shockwave that rippled across the scientific community. Its rapid disintegration was a stark warning. Antarctica is not as unmovable as it once seemed. The ice is shifting, and the consequences of this could be catastrophic. Rising sea levels, more frequent and intense storms, and altered ocean currents could all result from the destabilization of Antarctica's ice sheets. These changes will not be immediate. The process of melting and movement is slow, but its effects will be long-lasting. We may not see the complete collapse of Antarctica in our lifetimes, but we may be witnessing the beginning of a future that will profoundly alter the way we live. If the ice continues to melt at current rates, coastal cities will feel the impact in the coming centuries, and the Earth's weather systems will shift in ways we are not prepared for. The planet will be forced to adapt, but the question is, will we be able to adapt in time? In a strange, almost paradoxical way, Antarctica's isolation has made it a symbol of resilience. It has survived centuries of human exploration, scientific study, and even brief periods of exploitation. But it has also been a refuge for some of the most extreme forms of life on Earth. Creatures that have adapted to the harshest of conditions, like the tiny, almost invisible microbes that thrive under the ice, are a testament to life's ability to survive in the most inhospitable environments. Life in Antarctica is a lesson in endurance, in survival against all odds, a reminder that nature will find a way, even when it seems impossible. But survival comes at a cost. The very ecosystems that have survived for millions of years are now vulnerable to the changes brought on by our warming world. The krill, tiny crustaceans that form the backbone of the Antarctic food web, are facing unprecedented challenges. As the oceans warm, the sea ice that sustains them begins to disappear. Without krill, the penguins, seals, and whales that depend on them will struggle to survive. And the cascading effects of these changes will be felt far beyond Antarctica. The world's oceans are interconnected, and the loss of Antarctica's fragile ecosystems could have a domino effect on global biodiversity. The krill, the penguins, the seals, and even the ice itself, they are all pieces of a puzzle that we are beginning to understand, but their future is uncertain. In many ways, Antarctica is the last frontier of understanding when it comes to global ecosystems. What happens here will affect everyone. The question is no longer whether we can preserve Antarctica. The question is how long we can keep it from falling into the same patterns of exploitation, neglect, and unsustainable change that we have inflicted upon the rest of the planet. The world's oceans and atmosphere are interconnected, and Antarctica is no exception. What happens in Antarctica does not stay in Antarctica. The continent is a living laboratory, a barometer of how the Earth's natural systems react to external forces. As global temperatures rise, the impact on Antarctica will become more pronounced. Already, we are seeing changes that we cannot ignore. Yet, despite the undeniable changes, there remains something eternal about Antarctica. It is the place where the world can still remind itself of its raw, unspoiled power. It is a place where time seems to slow down, where the land is both a graveyard of past histories and a promise of future possibilities. Antarctica is the last place on Earth that belongs only to Earth itself, a land beyond human influence, beyond our reach. But its future, and ours, may not be as separate as we once thought. The Earth is changing. The question is whether we will change with it, or whether we will wait too long to act. Antarctica holds the answers to many of our most pressing questions, but only if we are willing to listen. We must act now, before the final ice shelf breaks away, before the last whispers of the Antarctic winds fade into history. Antarctica may be the last place on Earth that remains untouched by human hands, but it is not impervious to change. The Earth is alive, and Antarctica is its most fragile heartbeat. The world is listening, but the question is, will we hear it in time?